From homeschoolers rallying in Chicago to the Senate passing all kinds of bills to measures being proposed to lift the nuclear moratorium, it was a busy day yesterday across the state when it comes to issues at the Illinois State House. I'm Greg Bishop, Associate Editor for the state of Illinois with the Center Square, and you can find the headlines my team and I put together at thecentersquare.com/Illinois, where you can also sign up for that newsletter to get the headlines in your inbox each and every weekday morning. All right, where are we at here? There we are. All right, so let's go to thecentersquare.com, and we've already talked this morning about the bill to allow for recall. We talked about the Senate Executive Committee meeting to discuss the issue of safe gun storage, but Jim Talamonte, our reporter out of Chicago yesterday, he was able to go downtown and witness and report on the rally of homeschool families that rallied at Daly Plaza in downtown Springfield. So let's just go to Jim's story here and read a little bit of it. Parents and community leaders speaking out against legislation, the Illinois State House, that would punish homeschool families if they don't comply with new state government reporting mandates. And as you can see there, a fair amount of families with tons of microphones from Chicago media, homeschool advocates on the location of Daly Plaza. Now, we talked about House Bill 2827, and if you haven't seen that, we actually put the entirety of the debate on that on our YouTube channel, so you can find the debate about the Homeschool Act on the Center Square's YouTube channel. But the legislation from State Representative Tara Costa Howard did advance out of the House committee last week. Possibly we could see amendments, but the sponsor said it's time for Illinois to come into terms with 38 other states, she said, has more regulations on homeschooling. You have Pastor Chris Butler, State Representative LaShawn Ford, others who were talking during this rally, and let's just watch and hear a little bit of what's going on. Vote no. Chanting vote no. That's a fair amount of people there.
But right now, I don't believe the bill is exactly what's needed in Illinois.
Amen.
Yeah!
That's Representative Ford. He's been opposed to this.
Restorative justice, I believe, and making sure that people don't have a pathway to the justice system, the criminal justice system, and this bill is a pipeline to the criminal justice system for parents, and I can't stand for that. How can we criminalize parents for wanting to love their children?
It's an interesting perspective LaShawn Ford has there. Ford is definitely a proponent of reforming the criminal justice system and making sure that there are things to divert somebody from being on the path towards imprisonment, right? So he will regularly oppose things like penalty enhancements. That's another conversation that's had at the State House all the time. Democrats don't want penalty enhancements for things like drugs or driving or things like that because they feel it compounds on those who are least able to afford those types of penalties and fines. So they don't want penalty enhancements. But sometimes Republicans are looking for penalty enhancements as like a deterrent of sorts, right? So interesting to hear LaShawn Ford bring that into this conversation of sorts, saying that all this bill's going to do is set parents up to be on that path to getting fines or to getting, possibly even jail time. Here is Pastor. Who was this? Pastor Chris Butler. He was there as well, sharing some of his thoughts.
It's just a form, they say, but it creates a new pathway to criminalization.
Right.
Because this form, if you neglect to fill it out, this form, if you forget to fill it out, this form, if you fill it out and an overburdened administrator loses it, this form says that if they don't get it, your child is automatically considered a chronic truant and you are considered guilty of a Class C misdemeanor.
That's right.
You are immediately subject to a $500 fine. You are immediately threatened with 30 days in jail. They say it's just a form, but I say it might be more.
That's right.
7 represents a massive threat to the most hopeful movement taking place in our education society today.
Amen.
We preach. I am a preacher, and I've been an education advocate practically all my life. We preach that we want parents to be involved. These parents who are homeschooling their children are doing just that, and we should do nothing in the state of Illinois to hinder them. Thank you so much.
So I appreciate Jim Talamonte getting that video together and reporting on that, as we'll see this bill come up possibly by the end of next week in the House, and then it could possibly be kicked over to the Illinois Senate. So what's going to happen there? Are they even going to get enough Democrats to pass this thing? They only need 61 votes to get it out of the House before May 31st, and there's 78 Democrats. So that would mean you've got a lot of Democrats that could not have to vote for this. Other news, go to thecentersquare.com/Illinois, and you'll be able to see the headlines, including a couple of State House Republicans wanting to expand nuclear power in Illinois. And this is coming from State Senator Sue Rezin, State Senator Terry Bryant, and State Senator Sally Turner. They all say that we need more nuclear power. If you recall, a few weeks ago, we had some renewable energy advocates asking for the law to expand for allowing for battery storage from wind and solar, and they said that by 2030, the energy needs are going to be through the roof, and that's because of AI and self-driving, or supercomputers and quantum computers and electric vehicles, and they didn't say it was because they're forcing coal-fired power plants to go offline in Illinois. When I asked if it was premature to do that, they said, no, everything's been kind of going that way anyways. So regardless, the needs for energy in Illinois continue to increase. The costs continue to increase. Republicans at the State House and some Democrats as well, they came together and they did get a lifting of the nuclear mortarium last year. The governor signed, but it was only for small modular reactors. And these are yet to be fully developed, still probably years off from actually coming together, but we could get some small modular nuclear reactors in Illinois. But the big traditional ones, now Republicans are looking to lift the moratorium altogether and to allow for even the expansion or the building of new, much larger nuclear power plants.
Acknowledge the immediate pressures on our grid. Data centers are consuming enormous amounts of energy. Senator Rezin's legislation ensures that foreign adversary-owned data centers do not worsen this problem. While we work on long-term solutions, like expanding nuclear power, we also need to implement policies that prevent unnecessary strain on our grid today. So Illinois families deserve policies that work for them instead of against them. Lower energy costs, economic expansion, and workforce stability will provide meaningful benefits for every household in our state. This is about more than just energy, more than just about electricity. It's about our state's future.
My district is home to Clinton Nuclear Plant, a vital part of our local economy and a key source of reliable energy for our state. Nuclear power provides good-paying jobs, ensures that our communities have access to stable, carbon-free electricity. However, Illinois has been slow to embrace new nuclear development, and we need to change that. The demand for electricity is growing at historic pace, driven by advancements in technology and industry. If we want to remain competitive, we must invest in the next generation of nuclear power.
So you've got the push on to lift that nuclear moratorium, something that was part of the conversation yesterday at the State House, but also at the State House with the Senate in. They passed several measures, just a couple that passed unanimously, dealing with veterans. They're looking to allow for households that have one or more veterans that are reaching a certain income threshold to have access to the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP. Of course, it's got pending federal rules, but they have another one that says new veteran homes that are built for veterans that are smaller are not required to have electric vehicle charging. It's another law they passed several years ago to require new homes to have electric vehicle installation for chargers, but they want to try to make sure they put that mandate away for veterans. So that also passed unanimously out of the Senate. Just a few of the things. They passed a bunch of bills out of the Senate yesterday. Go to thecentersquare.com, stay up to date, and follow us anywhere you find the Center Square. All right, make it happen.